What if I told you there's a Greek technique that can completely transform your ability to focus? The Greeks called it prosoche, attentive presence, and Socrates treated it like daily exercise for the soul. In a world that hurls pings and pop-ups at our minds, prosoche is a countercultural act, to turn one's attention toward a single worthy task and remain with it. Today, we'll replace exotic mystery with practical mastery. You'll learn what prosoche meant to Socrates and his students, how simple habits of inquiry and restraint harden attention, how modern neuroscience quietly agrees with the ancients, and how to combine classical ascesis, disciplined practice, with behavioral tools to enter flow on command. We'll also unpack why consistency beats talent when it comes to deep work. If you feel splintered, distracted, or unable to finish what you start, this is for you. Socrates never said, "I have all the answers." He said, "Let's examine." That examination is the beginning of focus. It's not about willpower theatrics. It's about designing your mind the way Greek sculptors designed marble. Remove what's unnecessary until the essential stands on its own. By the end, you'll have a Socratic routine you can start today. No incense, no robes, just clear attention, steady effort, and results that accumulate like compound interest. Prosoche is the posture of vigilant attention, being with what you're doing while you're doing it. For Socrates, attention wasn't a luxury. It was a moral duty. He paired prosoche with elenchus, the Socratic method of questioning, to carve away fuzzy thinking. The pairing looks like this. Choose one task that matters, then interrogate every impulse that tries to dislodge you. Is this necessary now? What's the reason for shifting? Am I chasing novelty or pursuing truth? These micro-questions slow the mind's reflex to escape effort. Socrates called this care of the self, epimeleia hautu. It's a craft. Observe the mind, steer it, return it. Importantly, prosoche is single-threaded. The Greeks didn't pretend to multitask. They pursued arete, excellence through skill, which demands concentration. If you write, then write. If you study, then study. In modern terms, set your context, shut the gates, and watch the mind's urge to wander without obeying it. The Greeks paired attention with enkrateia, self-possession. Distraction isn't just external noise, it's the internal habit of fleeing discomfort. Socrates trained students to stay with inquiry even when it burned. That staying is the root of deep focus. Prosoche isn't ascetic misery. It's the joy of doing one thing well and discovering that peace hides on the far side of sustained effort. Strip the marble myth from prosoche and you find neurobiology. Narrow focus recruits the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex to stabilize goals, the anterior cingulate to detect conflict, and the basal ganglia to gate actions. Basically, your brain's hold-the-line system. Socratic questioning adds a cognitive break. When you ask, "Is this necessary now?" you engage metacognition, dampening impulsive switches orchestrated by dopamine spikes from novelty. Meanwhile, when attention holds on one meaningful task, the salience network flags that task as important, and the default mode network, the inner chatter, quiets enough to let working memory breathe. Over time, repetition myelinates the relevant circuits. Habits become automatic. Begin work, drop in, stay. The Greeks called this ascesis, training. Neuroscience calls it experience-dependent plasticity. There's also Stress science here. Single-task rhythms regulate cortisol by giving your body predictable effort recovery cycles. And when challenge meets skill, dopamine rises in proportion to progress, not novelty, rewarding depth. The Socratic micro-question reframes effort as meaningful, which lifts noradrenaline to an optimal level, not panicky, not bored. The result feels like flow, but it's built on simple rules. One task, explicit criteria, feedback loops, deliberate pauses. The ancient vocabulary and modern imaging agree on the same point. The mind becomes what it practices. Here's the daily drill. Step 1. Name the one. Choose a single task that, if completed, would move your life forward. State it as a verb and a measurable outcome. Draft 800 words of Chapter 3, not work on the book. Step 2. Set the frame. 90 minutes on, 10 minutes off, or two 50-minute blocks separated by a break. Step 3. Socratic gatekeeping. Before you begin, write 3 guard questions on a card. Is this necessary now? What is my next tiny action? What will I measure at the end? Keep the card visible. Step 4. Silence the agora. Airplane mode, blocked websites, notifications off, ringer down, door closed. Step 5. Anchor the body. Sit the same way, start with 2 slow breaths, and read the task sentence aloud. Step 6. Return without drama. When attention drifts, notice it, answer one gate question, and return. No self-insults, no negotiations. Step 7. Score it. At the end, record binary data. Did I do the block as framed? Did I meet the measurable outcome? Step 8. Debrief with Elenchus. Ask, where did I slip and why? Which cue saved me? What will I change in the next block? This loop builds enkratia through repetition. The Greeks weren't optimizing hacks. They were cultivating character. Each block is a vote for the person you're becoming. The Greeks prized aphilia, simplicity. To practice it, remove 3 categories of distraction. First, visual noise. Clear the desk, but for tools of the task. Hide screens unrelated to the work. Keep only one document in view. Second, choice noise. Pre-decide apps, fonts, sources, and the next action before the block starts. Socrates would say, choice without purpose is disguised confusion. Third, social noise. Set office hours for messages. Batch replies. Reserve your mornings for generating ideas, afternoons for coordination. Use a friction ladder for temptations you can't eliminate. Make them annoying. Log out. Bury them in folders. Require 2 steps to access. Meanwhile, make your real work frictionless. One-click open, template ready, cursor blinking where you left off. Use environmental cues like a specific mug, a timed light, or a handwritten mantra. Attend to what is present. Socrates used questions to disrupt illusions. Use them to disrupt impulse. Will this matter in 2 hours? Is this action a detour or a path? Finally, set commitment contracts with friends. If you break your morning block, you owe them a small donation. Pain binds the intention to action. The point is not moral purity, it's practical reliability. Attention follows design. Flow isn't magic, it's a match. The Greeks hunted measure, the golden mean between too easy and too hard. You'll enter flow when your task sits just above your skill, with a clear goal and immediate feedback. So calibrate challenge by slicing the task into adjacent possibles. If 800 words feels crushing, commit to 200 words 4 times. If a dataset is messy, commit to one transformation step. Clarity means one metric. Words, problem solved, pages reviewed, minutes rehearsed. Feedback is built in. Visible progress tracker, checklist bar, or a timer that displays elapsed, focused minutes. Add a pre-flow ritual, 2 breaths, read the 1, review the metric, begin. Add a mid-flow rescue. When stuck, do a Socratic 3-step. Define the confusion in a sentence. List 2 causes. Choose 1 experiment. If fatigue surges, take a walk without phone for 5 minutes. Movement resets noradrenaline and restores working memory. End with a shutdown line. This is where I'll start tomorrow. You train your brain to expect completion, not perfection. Flow accumulates from the repetition of these small agreements. Do not chase intensity, chase repeatability. Socrates predated the Stoics, but they extended his discipline, marry their ascesis with modern habit science. Use implementation intentions. If it's 8 a.m., then I open the draft and write the first sentence. Attach the cue to an existing anchor, coffee mug, desk lamp, the same playlist. Use habit stacking. After you set the timer, you read your metric. After you read it, you type 1 ugly sentence. The first keystroke reduces activation energy. Momentum is neurological. Manage dopamine wisely. Embed micro rewards only after the block. Stretch, a sip of good tea, a check mark on a visible tracker. Guard your sleep. The hippocampus needs it to consolidate learning. Treat nutrition and movement as attentional technology. Protein at breakfast, a brisk walk at midday, sunlight within an hour of waking. Build inhibitory scaffolds, freedom-style blockers, offline docks, grayscale screens, and a distraction ledger where you jot urges to check. Writing them down acknowledges the impulse without acting on it, satisfying the brain's need to be heard. These are not punishments. They're instruments. The ancients had courtyards. You have settings. Make them sing the same tune. One task, one mind. Keep a small notebook, the Socratic ledger, to train Prosoche in real time. Divide each workday page into 4 sections. Section 1. The one task with a 12-word description and the metric. Section 2. Gate questions. You'll ask when you feel the itch to switch. What am I avoiding? What is the smallest next move? What will I be proud of in 2 hours? Section 3. Urge. Log timestamp, what tempted you, and a 1-line countermeasure. For example, 9:42, checked inbox, countermeasure, set inbox to open at 1 p.m. Section 4. Post block. Elenchus, 3 reflections, where attention held, where it fractured, what you'll alter next time. This notebook is a mirror. It replaces vague guilt with specific learning. Over weeks, you'll see patterns. Time windows when you're strongest. Contexts that sabotage you. Tasks that always trigger avoidance. Socrates used dialogue to expose contradictions. Your ledger exposes the gaps between what you say matters and what you actually do. Treat that gap as data, not shame. Adjust the environment, shrink the task, recommit to the ritual. Attention, like a muscle, thickens under repeated load. The notebook is how you add weight safely, session by session. Talent is a head start. Consistency is a destiny. The Greeks didn't worship raw ability. They revered ethos, habits baked so deep they behave like character. Focus improves from frequency before duration. One 50-minute block every day beats 3 heroic marathons on Saturday. Commit to a streak of 30 straight days of one morning block. Keep the score public to yourself. A wall calendar with big marks. When you miss, never miss twice. Build redundancy. 2-time slots where the block can happen so life has less leverage to break you. Practice anti-fragility by planning for failure scenarios. Travel kit with noise-blocking headphones, offline templates, a tiny keyboard for phone drafting. Treat setbacks as Socratic experiments. Which assumption failed? What friction did I underestimate? What micro-adjustment maintains the ritual? Remember, focus is not the absence of temptation. It's the presence of a stronger through line. Most people overestimate bursts and underestimate grooves. Socrates stayed with the question until it yielded. Stay with your craft until the page yields, the code compiles, the design lands. That's enkrateia, the ruling of yourself by yourself, one kept promise at a time. Your attention becomes what you repeatedly consume. The Greeks curated paideia, an education of the soul. Curate your feeds. Unfollow accounts that inject outrage. Subscribe to sources that raise your standard. Implement input windows. News only after your primary block. Social confined to a 20-minute afternoon slot. Replace doom scrolling with deliberate study. One book aligned to your craft, 10 pages per day. Note the 3 most transferable ideas. Use selective ignorance. Choose one domain to be gloriously ignorant about this month, and reclaim those minutes for your one when curiosity nags mid-block. I should Google that. Deploy deferred curiosity. Write it in the ledger. Promise to explore during the input window. This maintains intellectual honesty without sacrificing momentum. Protect silence. The brain consolidates when it has room. Schedule a weekly Socratic walk. Leave your phone. Pose one question to yourself. Wander for 30 minutes. The Greeks philosophized under the sky. You can too. Inputs either scatter your attention or steep it. Choose steeping. When you ingest better ideas, your mind coughs up better work. Once a week, hold an assembly with yourself. Agenda. Item 1. Tally blocks completed versus planned. Celebrate streaks. Item 2. Quality check. Did your outputs advance a real project or just create the feeling of progress? Item 3. Distraction audit. Top 3 triggers. The contexts they thrive in, and the counter designs you'll test next week. Item 4. Scope correction. Prune goals until they fit on one sheet. If everything is priority, nothing is. Ask Socratic questions. What am I pretending not to know? Where did vanity make me busy instead of useful? Which 2 habits had the highest leverage? Decide one keystone tweak for the coming week. Earlier start, shorter blocks, tighter metric, better reward. Close with gratitude for the effort. The Greeks linked eudaimonia, a flourishing life, to habitual excellence. Your weekly assembly transforms scattered days into a coherent story. It replaces panic with governance. You stop being a passenger of attention and become its steward. Life interrupts. The Socratic answer isn't rigidity, it's principled flexibility. When travel, illness, or crises hit, scale your ritual down to a minimum viable block. 20 minutes, one tiny deliverable, same opening and closing lines. This preserves identity. I am the person who attends. On heavy days, switch from creation to maintenance, organize notes, outline future tasks, clean the data set, rehearse scales. Momentum is momentum. Deploy the two-spear method. One spear is today's one, the second is tomorrow's setup. 5 minutes to stage materials, so friction is low when you return. Use compassionate elenchus. Ask not, "Why am I weak?" but "What obstacle is present and how can I shrink it?" This maintains self-respect while staying honest. And remember, recovery is part of discipline. The nervous system needs downshifts, naps, breathwork, laughter with friends. The Greeks held festivals. They weren't machines. Your aim isn't monastic denial. It's reliable delivery over seasons. Return to the line again and again. That is the only magic. Let's gather the thread. Prosoche is attentive presence. Elenchus is honest questioning that interrupts impulse. Enkrateia is self-governance through kept promises. Together, they form a Greek method for eliminating distractions and building flow on command. Modern neuroscience nods along. Goals stabilize networks. Questions engage metacognition. Repetition wires reliability. Aligned challenge births flow. Consistency outperforms raw talent. Your move now is refreshingly small. Choose tomorrow's one. Write the metric, place the card where you'll see it, prepare the environment, and when the time comes, begin with 2 breaths and the question, is this necessary now? You don't need permission, hacks, or heroic inspiration. You need a repeatable ritual, honed by inquiry, defended by design. Socrates would remind us, an unexamined day is as wasteful as an unexamined life. Examine yours, then focus it. Excellence is terribly ordinary in the moment of doing and utterly extraordinary in its accumulation. Make your work the agora where attention stands upright, then return tomorrow and stand again. That is the Greek technique. That is how you become undistracted. If this helped you reclaim your attention, do the simplest next act. Subscribe. Not as a vanity metric. Subscribe so your future self keeps a reliable appointment with focus. Tap the bell so the next practice drops into your mornings without you hunting for it. If you felt a shift today, press like. It teaches the algorithm to serve you more signal and less noise. In the comments, write your one for tomorrow in 12 words or fewer, and the metric you'll measure. That public promise is a small but mighty act of enkrateia. Share this with one friend who's drowning in tabs. Make a 2-person pact. 1 daily block, 1 checkmark text. Attention is personal, but accountability is social. Save this video to a deep work playlist so you can replay the rituals until they're automatic. If you want to keep building the groove, my other videos will help. A Stoic morning routine that lands you in Prosoche within 5 minutes, a flow-on command walkthrough using challenge clarity feedback, a weekly review using the Athenian assembly worksheet, and a no-gimmick dopamine reset that protects curiosity without feeding compulsion. Start with the weekly review. Govern your week, and your days will follow. Drop questions you want me to tackle next. How to focus with a demanding job. How to study with Prosoche for exams. How to write daily without burning out. Or how to design a travel-proof ritual. I read every question and fold the best into future episodes. Before you leave, set tomorrow's one. Write it on a card. Lay out your tools. When the time comes, breathe twice. Ask, is this necessary now? And begin consistency over talent, attention over noise, craft over clutter. I'm glad you're here. Now let's build the city of your mind. One kept promise at a time. Subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next session.